craft beer. We make craft beer. We just happen to make it more efficient than other companies do. So there's local beer and there's craft beer, right? So you can call it what you want. So we're constantly in this debate on craft beer versus, microbrews, right? So, and I would tell you, I like a lot of microbrews, but they're a lot of times not very consistent. So one day I'll go and drink a maple brown, it'll taste like this, and next time I'll drink it, it'll taste like that. Versus our beers are, because of the size of our factories and everything like that, are very consistent on how they taste, and they're cheaper than those other beers because of all these economies of scale that we have.
And that, I was hoping we'd kind of bleed into this topic because, I don't know, it's kind of really big, I feel like, with our generation, is just the whole craft beer demand.
Yeah.
And my question was kind of, how has Coors made that approach? I know you kind of have done your own, Blue Moon is a big brewery in Denver now. Is it something that Coors is acquiring, kind of these smaller breweries, or are you developing your own craft beers?
Yeah. So I don't know if it's still the case, but prior to a week ago, we were the largest craft brewery in the United States. And the reason why I say that is, I don't know if you heard, but Sam Adams and Dogfish merged, so to speak, even though Dogfish got bought out by Sam Adams for $300 million. So they may be bigger than us now, but we have brands like Blue Moon, Leinenkugel's, are all organic brands that we made ourselves, although we do have some that we bought. So it's a brand called St. Archer out in San Diego. What's really exciting about that is we're coming out with a craft light beer, which is fantastic. It's fewer calories than Coors Light, Miller Lite, Bud Light. It's really good. I got some.
And that's from St. Archer.
Yeah. So we make it, and it's not in Colorado yet, but it's going to be called St. Archer Gold. At certain markets we're producing it for. So we have some of that, but we try to keep the integrity of the brand in place. We try to keep its wort stream the same, where Anheuser-Busch has been more of a purchase, and then bring them into their big factories and make them in the same wort stream as other products that they have. The famous example of that is Goose Island, which is their Chicago beer. They totally changed the taste of the beer. And from a broad distribution standpoint, they got more tap handles than they ever had, but the purists don't drink Goose Island anymore. But I don't think Anheuser-Busch really cares because, it's their craft beer and they got tap handles all over the country, Goose Island tap handles. So they lost some beer aficionados, so what?
Do you mind if I switch gears a bit, or do you want to keep going on this craft thing?
I was going to ask just kind of like a side question about that. Do you think I feel like there's been some bad PR recently with these bigger companies either acquiring or masking that they own these sub-brands. Do you think Coors sees any backlash from that?
Well, it's not unique to us. If you go into a supermarket or a Walmart, I don't know if you've ever seen these maps where they talk about the number of companies that are responsible for the food system, but you can count them on two hands, right? So you may think, and it gets like a good example is granola. It has this, mom and pop type granola, but it's run by Quaker Oats, right? Versus there's a brand called Love Grown that was made by students at DU, and they are a small company. So you'd see Love Grown next to some other one, and you think they're both small companies, but they're not. One's Quaker and one's Love Grown, right? So it's not unique to us. They may make the same argument to say it's better quality and everything like that. I don't think you're trying to trick anybody. I think you're trying to market people differently. We don't deny it. If someone asks me, do you guys make Blue Moon? I'm like, yeah, we make Blue Moon. We make Leinenkugel. We make St. Archer. We don't go out of our way because there is an image associated with a craft brewer. It's this little tiny place. But from a quality standpoint of what quality materials you get for what you pay, you're better off with the big companies than you are with the small, which is the reason why Dogfish Head, the owner, this guy's Sam whatever, he always said, I'm going to be an independent, I'm always going to be an independent, and here he is, he sells out to a big company. because he understands this, that there's a limit to how far you can take this stuff.
And that's because of economies of sale and then
Yeah, yeah.
distribution and okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it probably does make a difference to you if you think it's made in a small place, but from a beer purist standpoint, it really doesn't. It's more of an image and a brand, and let's face it, consumer products are all about branding. They're more about branding than they are about taste. Case in point, you try finding a soft drink in, King Soopers that's not made by one of 3 companies. You won't.
Well, it's interesting too because I feel like beer sees a side of that more so
They
than
do.
a lot of other companies. I just think it's kind of
It's true.
fascinating.
It is true, and especially with all the small brands that are bottling their own stuff, and you can buy it at their store. And now in Colorado, because you got the 3-2 law, so now King Super sells all the craft beers. Yeah, for sure.
Just to clarify, were you saying that bigger companies can produce better quality and more consistent craft beer?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it isn't an artisan. You'll have someone. I mean, if you watch a brewing process, if you look at a brewing process from a small company versus a large, there's much more controls involved in the large company than the small. Maybe that's part of the allure, that it tastes different, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, sometimes I taste, I'm like, wow, that's not what I expected, but that tastes good. Other times I'm like, wow, this tastes like shit.
Yeah, I had that recently when I went to what's the place on Broadway by Adelita's Black Label Project. I don't know if you've seen that.
No.
And they're doing some cool stuff where they're like having some stuff halfway between like a sangria and a beer. And some of them are like really good sours, and then
Yeah.
others of them I'm like, this is really like super musky and like not quite what I wanted.
And the kings of that are Dogfish Head. They found all these ancient recipes of beers and all kinds of ferments, and they created all these old ferments